The hardest reading challenge you will ever do, also known as Herkit. Yes, the rumors are true. I am going to be participating in Herkit 3.0, or at least I'm going to try and participate. Apparently, my ego is so big that I think I can do this. But if you know me, which you probably don't, but I struggle with following TBRs, so this could be a problem for me. But I'm also very excited to try, and I want to kind of document it, even if I succeed or if I fail, just to keep it real over here. So if you don't know what Herkit is, it's a reading challenge hosted by Quarry here on YouTube. She has done this 3 years now. This is the third year, and it starts on July 7th and goes until July 6th next year. And it starts on July 7th because that is her birthday. Now, she puts so much effort into these prompts and this challenge and website and spreadsheets and everything, so I would love it that you go and check out her channel. You can also find the announcement video and a lot more details there. But basically, we have to fill out a bingo board, and the goal is to get a blackout. Now, normally in a reading challenge that is a bingo board inspired, you usually have to just read one book for one square and check it off. No, each square has multiple books to be able to check it off. I think that there are a total of around 150 prompts that you need to fill, and one book can count for 2 different prompts, so you can double up. So I guess the minimum amount of books you need to read to complete all of them is 75, which is a lot. And if you can't find 2 prompts to fit each book, then you might need to read more. But this year is also different because she has made like different versions of it. You have the Ain't No One Got Time For It version, where you just need to read one book for each square. You got the kids and teens version, and then you have the gamified version. I personally am going to do the normal, no nonsense version, just normal, straightforward Herkit. And I have been planning. I I signed up and downloaded the spreadsheet and I started filling out, and I just kept on going because I was like, I love planning, but at the same time, I kind of hate following TBR, so this could be both a good thing and a bad thing. I don't really know yet. But I thought that I would go through each square and each prompt and kind of tell you what I am thinking that I might read. I don't know if I'll stick to it, like this might change. And I wanted to try and keep it to the books on my physical TBR, or books that I have on my Kindle, or books that I already have on my radar. So I didn't really want to do too much research. For some of them, obviously I had to, but I obviously had quite a few that fit for my physical TBR onto a lot of the prompts already. And I have chosen a few short stories as well. I don't know if that counts in my. I'm going to count it for me, but I don't know if it counts like according to the rules. I think she has a frequently asked questions page you can kind of check out. She also has a website for it and a video where she goes through and explains every single prompt. And there's also a Discord channel that you can join where you can kind of talk to other people, get inspiration, get help, and all of that jazz. I'm going to link her announcement video down below so you can go and check it out, where she has all of the other links. So yeah, I'm going to go through all the prompts, all 25 squares, and just tell you the books that I might pick up. I have tried to double up as much as I can. I haven't been able for all of them, and I think I'm missing like 30 prompts to fill in, but I filled out like 125. Maybe I'm missing like 25 then. I have filled out about around somewhere in that area. I'm not really too sure. But yeah, so let's get into it. I am very excited. I don't know if this will go well, because what do you mean 150 books in a year? That's basically, I usually read between 100 and 150 books a year, so like that will be all of my reading for next year, already planned out, and that scares me somehow. So I feel like I might do well the first few months and then kind of drop off a bit, but I do kind of want to hit the ground running. I am also starting this a bit earlier because a lot of the books that I want to count for the prompts are books that I want to read like right now. So I'm going to be starting on the 15th of June. You can kind of pick your own start date, but then if you start on the 15th of June, you have to end on the 14th of June next year. So it's always just 1 year. So I'm going to be doing that, but the official start date is the 7th of June. I have seen some people say that they don't like starting in the middle of the month. Some people will be starting on the 1st of June, etc. But you can choose your own start date for this. I think that is all of the information I want to give now. So now we're just going to go into the clip where I went through all the books. I already filmed that one, and I will be wearing a different outfit, just so you know. And hopefully you can get some inspiration. And I'm going to be mentioning a lot of books, so this video might be a bit long. Sorry about that, but let's get right on into it. Okay, so I have my computer with my spreadsheet here, and we're just going to go through each square. I think that might be the best way to do it. So the first prompt is choose your party, which is very D&D inspired, as you can probably tell by the title. I haven't ever played this, so it was a bit hard for me. But basically, you need to pick out 5 books that is inspired by a D&D role, like bards, druids, fighters, rogue, ranger, something like that, and you can kind of twist the prompts to kind of fit them as you want. So these are the 5 that I have kind of tentatively put on here. We have No Matter What by Cara Stone. She learns how to paint in that one, so I put it as a bard. And then we have The Warden by Anthony Trollope, which is the druid. The book that held her heart is the wizard, because they are academics. Fighter, I chose Life and Death and Giants because he's a athlete, I think. And then Sorcerer, I have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So you can kind of see that you don't need to take them literally, you know. Then we have the square for the periodic table. This is the one I'm struggling with the most, I would say. You need 5 titles that has an element from the periodic table in it, and you can't double up. The only one I have for this so far is Silver in the Wood. It's got silver in the title, but there are so many elements in the periodic table, and some of them are quite obscure, but I did get a few recommendations from the Discord, but I haven't really decided which ones I want to read or if I want to find something else. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. I was thinking about doing Demon Copperhead for one, Copper, or you can do Kingdom of Copper, City of Brass. I have read those, I can't do them, but those kind of lines. Next up, we have familial terms. We just need, I think it's 5 books or 4. Let's see. You need 5 books with a familial term in the title, like daughter, son, father, mother, uncle, grandma, grandpa, niece, anything like that. It can't be best friend or like boyfriend. It needs to be blood relationships, essentially. And I have father and son for father. My grandmother asked me to tell you she's sorry for grandmother. Notes of a Native Son, Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and then Letter to My Mother. Those are the ones that I could find on my shelves, on my radar that fit this prompt. But I feel like there's a lot of options for this one, so I think that one could be filled quite easily. Then we have Traipsing Through Regions, and this we just need to have 5 books that are either set in or written by author from different regions. It's not continents, but regions like the Caribbean, Scandinavia. It could be geographical regions or cultural regions. You can kind of interpret it as you will, so there's a lot of options here, so you can kind of bend it the way that you want. But I have The Door by Magda Sabo, and she's from Hungary, which I think is Eastern European. And then we have White Across the Sea by John Rhee, which is from the Caribbean. Outline is set in Greece, so it's in the Mediterranean. Then we have All the Lovers in the Night, which is Asia or South Asia. And then we have Trondheim Frimose, which is Scandinavia. So those are the regions that I have chosen. I feel like you can kind of fill this one out as you go if you read a bit more diversely, so it should be easy, I guess. And then the last on that row is choose your curriculum. You've probably seen the trend online, especially on TikTok and BookTube, where you kind of have to build your own curriculum to learn through reading after school. And this is kind of the same thing. You need 5 books that represents 5 different subjects from school. I have chosen The Warden again, which goes through religious studies, and then Why I Write by George Orwell is English. The Problem That Has No Name is social studies. Brightside Revisited is history, and then Ripe is home economics, or the class where you make food. I think that's what they call it, because it's got food on cover. That is the only reason why I chose it, but you can do whatever you want. You can do non-fiction, fiction, whatever. Okay, we're on to the second role, and the first one is road trip. And as I kind of interpreted this one, you need 5 different states in the US. So books set in 5 different states. That is not the main ones like New York and California. Or you can do any other country that you will. You can do UK, you can do like, I don't know, Japan, but it needs to be 5 different regions or states or cities that is not one of the big ones or the main ones in that country. I kept it simple and did the US, and we have The Eyes Were the Watching God for Florida, Life and Death and Giants for Wisconsin, The Berry Pickers for Maine, Bourbon and Lies for Kentucky, and then Love, Hate and Other Filters for Illinois. So again, I have just chosen these, but everything might change when I read them, depending on what order I read them. They might fulfill different prompts as well. Then we have one of my favorites, which is Bookception, and that is just read a book, and if that book mentions another book, then you go and read that book. And it's just 2 books. So I'm currently reading The Bright Years, and they mention A Tree Grows in Brooklyn in that one. So you can read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, or if you read So Old, So Young, I think they mention Anna Karenina in this one, and you can read Anna Karenina. Or I know they mention a lot of books in, which is The Wedding People, I think. But yeah, you can kind of get the point. It's just read a book, and if that book mentions a book, read another book, and then you send in both of them for fulfilling that prompt. Then we have not so secret prompts, and that is just all of the secret prompts that was in Herkit 2. You need to do them now, but you only need to do 1 book for each prompt. So how many are there? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There were 12 different secret prompts last year, and now you have to do it again. The first one is you just need to read a book outside, all of it outside. I feel like that could be easily met. And then we have pun in the title. I chose Meet Your Baker. It's a Cozy Mystery series. And then we have listen to an audiobook while doing a hobby or a craft, or read a book that's got a hobby or craft on the cover. I started the audiobook of Unsteady, and I will probably do a lot of just hobby things while listening to that one. So that is the kind of the one I put there. First and last name. This, I think it just needs to be a first and last name in a title, like Sugar Bane, or Anna Karenina, or The Haunting of William Thorne. Just a whole name in the title. Then you need to pick 1 book from I'll Get Around to It tag. You just look at the questions and pick one of the questions and do a book that fulfill that one. I'll probably do the classic one, most likely. We have duplicate titles. I chose Crossroads by Demi Perry because I always see this book named Crossroads when I go to the library. They have the same name. It counts. Then we have Childhood Miss, which, if I understood correctly, is just a book that you think you would have been obsessed with if you read it in your childhood. Joseph's Coat. I have never heard of this one before, but apparently it's like, it's got so many colors, and one of the colors are orange, so I chose Tempting Venom. I had never heard of Joseph's Coat before, but yeah, the title is orange, and a lot of the details on it is orange. I just chose that one. Doom scroll until you find a book and read that book. Movement, I chose Air by Sabbath Tahir. It's just, the cover has to have some kind of movement on it. And then most recent acquisition, I put The Bright Years, because that is the most recent book I bought. I mean, it's self-explanatory really. And then last name is a first name. I chose Till September Patronella by Joan Reese, because Reese is also a first name. You know, that is at least the way that I interpreted it. I don't know. If I'm wrong, please let me know. And then we have cover styles, and it's just different types of cover styles. So 4 different types. I have outline, which is kind of like a solid background color with a square photo and then typography around. I feel like I see a lot of those types of covers. I don't know what I should call it. Promise Me Sunshine, which is a painted cover. Betty Friedan, The Problem That Has No Name, is just minimalistic, and I guess you can say typography in a way. Then we have The Bone Chips, which is kind of a map cover or illustrated cover, you know, along those lines. I mean, anything goes for this one. I feel like every book has a cover, so you would easily be able to fulfill this prompt, I think. And then the last on that row is titular counting, which there are 2 different prompts with numbers in them, but this is the one where it's a number of words in the title, so you need a 1-word title, a 2-word title, a 3-word title, and up to 10. This is also filled in, but you know, every book has a title, so this can just change. But we have Summer, The Door, The Bird's Nest, Eye of the Star, Their Eyes Were Watching God, All the Lovers in the Night, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, I Don't Have Anything for 8, and then we have Why I Am No Longer Going to Buy a Computer, and then I Don't Have Anything for 10, but I feel like you could find books as you go. Okay, 3rd row, we have characters to authors, and this is kind of like you make a chain, so you read the book, and then the main character of that book needs to be the next book's author name, and then you read that book, and then the main character of that book needs to be the next book's author name. So for example, read Emma by Jane Austen, the next book's author needs to be named Emma, and then as it goes. I haven't planned out anything for this. I feel like it would be fun to kind of do it on the fly and make a video and challenge myself, so I have not really put anything into it. But I feel like if you want inspiration, you could probably find some on the Discord server, or just search up, or just choose a book with a very common name or something. It would probably help. And then another one that is pretty similar is Shiritori, which is just make a chain of books based on the last letter. So if you read a book, then the last letter of that book needs to be the first letter of the next book. So for example, if you read The Lamb by Lucy Rose, the last letter is B, so you need to read a book starting with B. For example, Before I Forget. So then you do that until you have 5 books in a chain. I did make a chain here on my spreadsheet, but I feel like it would be more fun to do it on the fly, like make a challenge out of it. But the ones that I have, as you can see a full example, we have The Book That Held Her Heart, The Lamb, Before I Forget, The Unicorn Hunters, and then Sunlight. So that is just an example of what it can look like. And then the middle square is Herkit mashup, and that is you take one prompt from Herkit 1 and then mash it up with a prompt from Herkit 2. I chose to do a very easy one, I guess, and that is 24-hour readathon with the avatar prompt. So you need to do a 24-hour readathon, and in that 24 hours you need to do or read a book for all of the avatar powers, like earth, air, water and fire, I think. I have planned it out. I have the Dream Thieves for I did something wrong, I can see. Okay, I did the Dream Thieves. I thought that this would kind of be like grass, but it can be earth, I guess. Then they have Finding Home for fire, because it's a fire on the cover. Small Rain for water, and then I put Mamo Volume 3 because I felt like earth, it's a wheat field, you know, but it could be wind because you can clearly see that it's kind of, you know, windy there. But I don't know, I need to look into that one again because I did it wrong, but yeah. Then they have numerical titles, and that is just you need a number in the title from 1 to 10 and then one random number above 10. So I have put some titles here. I have More Souls Than One, The Dialogue of Two Snails, The 3 Electronites, The Sign of 4, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, Secluded Cabin Sleep 6, 7 Days in June, Hard 8, The Ninth Rain. I don't have anything for 10, but then for the random number I put 100 Years of Solitude. And you can probably tell that I put a lot of the Penguin Modern Classics, and that is because I have this box set of them and I'm trying to find fun ways to read them, and a lot of them fit into the prompts, so I've kind of, I'm trying to utilize the books that I have on my physical TBR or on my radar already. So then we have rainbow titles, and that was the most difficult for me originally, because originally it was like you need the color in the title, like Anne of Green Gables, for example, and there's 11 colors, but I couldn't find anything, and then I saw that they kind of changed it to allow a font color. It was not the original plan, but a lot of discourse about it, so they allowed it. I wanted to try and keep the original, but it was hard, so I pivoted to the font colors, so that was much easier for me. So I have Rise of the Red Hand for red, Bourbon and Lies for orange, Burial Bones in a Midnight Soul for yellow, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn for green, Cash for blue, Crossroads for purple, Hungerstone for pink, The Dream Thieves for white, Black Sun for gold, and I don't have anything for black or silver yet, but I feel like it will be easy to find when I start reading. So there's kind of two ways you can do this one. I chose the easy version, I guess, but everything else is hard either way, so I felt like it was fine. Animal families. This is just read 6 books that has 6 different animals on the cover, and they have to kind of belong to different animal families in the animal kingdom. I don't know the animal kingdom that well, so it was kind of hard. But I have the leopard. This is kind of a artistic representation of a leopard, but I'm going to count it. We have the Homemade God, which has a worm on the cover. So Old, So Young, which has a goldfish. Trollene Primoser, which has a crane. Tempting Venom has a snake, and then we have In the Company of Witches, which has a frog. I don't know if these will count for different types. Please let me know. It was kind of hard to find them, but this is what I have so far. And maybe you can take recommendations from these. Next prompt is biomes, and that is just books that are set in different types of biomes. It could be a desert, urban, suburban, a forest, mountains, different types of environments. One that I just started, I think, is a tropical rainforest vibe. We have Cash, which I think is in the desert. The Bone Ships is set on the ocean, so a bit like aquatic. The Blackfire Blade is in the mountains. Promise Me Sunshine is urban. And then we have Garlic and the Vampire, which is a type of forest. Which one was it? Let's see. A conifer forest. I learned so many new types of forest when I was researching this. So I'm learning something every day. But yeah, this is kind of the list so far. And I think almost all of them I have on my physical TBR. That is the most of the books on this list. Really. Then we have Remix, which is just remixes of other stories. I think you need to do 5, yeah. And just different types of remixes. You can kind of pick and choose a bit. But I have White Across the Sea, which is kind of a fanfiction-esque, and it's also another point of view or the backstory of a character. Hungerstone is an alternate universe and different time, I think. The Unicorn Hunters is alternate history with magic in it. Frankenstein and Baghdad, I think, is a major plot change. I haven't read it yet, so I'm not too sure, but I think it will count for this. And then I found this Remix Classic series by Macmillan, which has a lot of remix classics, and I just picked out Self-Made Boys, which is a Great Gatsby remix. They have a lot of different options there, and I also have Lost Boy by Christina Henry, which is a remix of Peter Pan. So a lot of good options here. Then we have the Food Pyramid, which I think is a funny one, but that is just pick books that has different foods on the cover, and they need to kind of fulfill different parts of the food pyramid. So I have the Berry Pickers for fruits, Garlic the Vampire for vegetables, Meet Your Baker for sweets or desserts, Batter of Life and Death for dairy, because it's got a cup of milk there, and then we have the Lamp for protein. Yeah. I kind of struggled with this one, but I did find some good ones after a while. I felt like this was a funny prompt because it's so out there, The last one on that row is Modern Nature. You need to read 6 books that features different weather or nature events on the cover. This one, I felt I struggled a bit with this one, even though I should think that it would be easy. But I have Black Sun, which I put solar eclipse. It's kind of a nature event in my mind, so I feel hopefully it will count. In the Company of Witches, it's got lightning in the background. Unsteady has rain in the background. Sunlight has fog on the cover, and then we have The Dry, which has a sandstorm on the cover. I'm still missing one, but I feel like I should be able to get it, maybe a sunny one or something. Okay, we're on to the last row, and the first one is It's Your Birthday. Now, this it's a weird one and a frustrating one and a fun one at the same time, but it's all centered around your birthday. So we have your birthstone. Mine is garnet. I'm born in January, and it's garnet. And I saw that the meaning or the word garnet comes from what was it? Let's see. Yeah, garnet comes from the word granatus from Latin, which means like seed or like pomegranate seed or something. So I picked ripe for this one because it's got pomegranate seeds on the cover. That is kind of the thought process I had there. And then we have birth month publication, again born in January. I chose Initial D, Omnibus Volume 9. It was published this January actually. And then we have zodiac sign. I am a Capricorn, and it's a earth sign, so I chose The River Has Roots because roots and the things on the cover kind of gives you earth vibes. And then you have the Chinese zodiac. I am apparently a snake, but I feel like it should be easy to find snakes on covers, so haven't picked out anything for that one. Then we have name meaning. My name is Katerina. It apparently means pure / clean. I haven't picked out anything for this one, so if you have recommendations, please let me know. I'm kind of lost. And then we have 2 which I kind of struggled with, but I did find something. We have the flower. I have carnation and snowdrop, I think. But I did find this book called The Book of Summers. I actually have it somewhere because it was randomly found in the library, and it has what I would view as carnations on them. I'm kind of not too familiar with them, but it looks like them when I search a picture. So, and then we have the tree, which is I am a rowan tree. Rowan tree is apparently used in a lot of like British, Irish mythology, Welsh mythology, and I chose Silver in the Woods because it is kind of set in the same areas, and it's got a lot of the same themes that rowan tree is kind of associated with. I don't know, is that a stretch? I don't know, it works for me. So that is the birthday ones. I feel like these are the ones that is most personal and different for people, I think. Then we have backlist authors, and this one easy. It's just 5 books from authors you have read before or you love and you have meant to read more from but you haven't read, so just pick out 5 books from them. I have No Matter What, The Bird's Nest, Hour of the Star, The Black Tulip, and Go Tell It on the Mountain for this, but any other book by these authors or a lot of the authors on my TBR counts. So this is just an excuse to read books from authors you love, basically. Then we have I Must Endeavor to Acquire These Creatures. It's a Pokemon reference. I gotta catch them all, you know. The Pokemonster one, I'm sorry. And that is just read 5 books inspired by a Pokemon type. I don't know all the types, but they are listed in the spreadsheet or in the video, so you can find them. But I have picked out My Friends for water, The Unicorn Hunters for grass, Finding Home for fire, and then The River Has Roots for ground, and I need one more, but I feel like I'll be able to find something. An anthology of authors. Now this is where I struggled a lot. You need to read an anthology which has at least 6 different authors in them, and then read a book from each of those 6 authors. So I chose the anthology Magic Has No Borders, and it's a collection of short stories about magic in like South Asian inspired mythologies and stuff. It had a lot of authors in them, but I picked out 6 and some of their books. But the first one is Air by Sabaa Tahir. She was in that collection. Then we had The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, Road of the Lost, The Tiger at Midnight, Rise of the Red Hand, and then Love, Hate, and Other Filters. Those are kind of the ones that I have tentatively picked out. I might change my mind because there's more authors to choose from, but... And then the last one is Second Chances and Hidden Gems. Again, I feel like this one is kind of easy. It just give some books a second chance or find hidden gems. Second chances could be books that you have soft DNF'd or hard DNF'd and you want to try again, but you need to complete them this time. And hidden gems is a random recommendation or a book below a certain rating or a book that has below a certain number of ratings or a book that you haven't heard anyone talk about but you just randomly pick it up, and those types of books. I have I have 3 soft DNFs here and 1 that I picked up without knowing anything about. We have The Leopard, The Master and Margarita, The Monk, and then The Book of Summers. I need 1 more because you need 5, but I'll probably find something. I'll just go a trip to the library and pick out something, I guess. Wow, but that was the last prompt. But the total books you need ish is 150, and if you double up on every book, then you need a minimum of 75 books. I have filled out 129 slots out of 150, so I have a lot of it planned. As I said, it will probably not go the way I think, and I'll probably change them around as I go, but I feel like having options going with it is good, and I also wanted to share some recommendations. So yeah, that was all the books I planned reading for Herkit. Maybe, possibly, hopefully, cross my fingers. Hopefully you found some good options here or inspiration, and if you have any suggestions, please leave them down below in the comments. And if you're joining Herkit, please let me know because I would like to get to know a few people doing this as well. I feel like doing it together could help boost morale in a way. But yeah, and I'm very, very grateful for Stephanie at Quarry putting all this together and honestly just putting so much time and effort into this challenge, and you can see that it's made all with love, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.